But first, is Prince Harry right to hit out at what he calls the blatant lies coming from the charity he quit last week? It's all heartbreaking. This Sentebale was really close to his heart. The chair, Sophie Chan-doo-ka, accused Harry of bullying and harassment after he stood down as patron of the charity, his own charity, last week. And yesterday, it all got a bit more heated because the Charity Commission announced it's opened an investigation into Sentebale, which Harry founded in 2006, although they're investigating for something called regulatory compliance, not bullying. The Duke then responded, saying he hopes the Commission will unveil the truth. These are his exact words. What has transpired over the last week has been heartbreaking to witness, especially when such blatant lies hurt those who've invested decades in this shared goal. So basically, it sounds like they didn't like Sophie, the chairperson. They tried to oust her and she came back at them with allegations of bullying. I'm going to show you some social media here, which has been significant in all this. And basically, you're at a polo match and there's a trophy presentation. It's in aid of the charity and Meghan shows up. Let's just have a look at what happens. So you'll see here people waving items. Harry's there, then the presentation. Sophie on the right moves to be next to Harry and Meghan appears to block her, wanting to be closest to Harry. And she then says, can you move the other side of me? She says it twice, can you move the other side of me? I'll be frank, I've seen this a number of times. I don't see necessarily a problem here. Do you see a problem there?
No, I was talking to a friend of mine, Louise, about that video, and I said, well, actually, when you are at events, a photographer would do the same thing because of...
Well, take a look again. I think the point was that this was a moment for Harry and Dr. Sophie as the chairperson, and then Meghan operate... Look at that backwards move by Meghan to block him, to block her, which ends up with her being pushed to the edge of frame. And then she has to duck under the truck. That's the problem there.
So Sophie's not... I'm not defending anyone here, but Sophie's not the only one that's entered the frame. There's another lady.
I know.
And so in terms of how photos look, it's completely reasonable to say, well, people that dress the same, be in the middle if you're going to be in the middle, and then the guys...
Well, Sophie Chan-doo-ka has cited that. You know her, don't you, Sophie Chan-doo-ka?
I've known Sophie for nearly 20 years,
What kind of a person is she?
She is an extremely intelligent individual, extremely strong character, one of the strongest characters I know.
Right. Is that code for a bit of a bully?
No. She was very, very helpful to me when one of the organisations I set up.
Okay.
She was a great support when she was a lawyer.
Successful business leader?
Successful. She's done a lot of great things. So this whole situation for me is extremely unfortunate.
Well, I mean, that's very interesting what you said, isn't it? I haven't heard from anyone who knows Dr. Sophie who has hit back in the most lacerating way, Tessa.
That's what's surprising about this. You're right, she's a woman of considerable acumen and with an astonishing track record, MBE for instilling diversity in the city, etc., high-flown lawyer, Oxford-educated, Zimbabwean-born. Actually, her family is the third biggest donor family to Sentebale.
Wow.
Okay, so this is big egos. I think we tend to think just the Sussexes are capable of that kind of level of ego.
But Harry obviously thinks he can just get rid of the chairman, right? And the chairman says, I'm not moving.
But it wasn't, for the sake of balance, It wasn't Harry who got rid of the chair, it was the board who no longer had confidence in the chair.
I wonder, but Harry's a patron, he's not on the board, correct? Surely Harry is on the WhatsApp the whole time with the board members and says, I can't do this anymore.
Many of whom are his chums, a former Welsh guard, a polo manager. She cites Harry as the #1 risk to Sentebale. There is an irony there, I've got to say. The very polo match that we're watching delivered more than £1 million for the charity. Harry, over the years, has donated double figures of millions of pounds, 1.2 million from the copies of Spare alone. But what's interesting is in her interview, her sort of tell-all with another friend of hers, Trevor Phillips, she absolutely cited the Duchess. I mean, there was nothing warm about the way she spoke of Meghan.
So right.
And that Meghan arrived at this polo match unannounced with another famous friend, and it didn't look choreographed because it wasn't, because they didn't expect Meghan to be there. Yeah. Now, you could argue Meghan's a win, more eyeballs, more cameras, more money, but that's not how it looked on stage.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. I don't know what to think. I mean, in the end, we were talking about it the other day, and I said Meghan showed up, and someone said, Meghan showed up. It's very disrespectful, that phrase. Because actually, as you say, she took some time to support the charity.
But also she can shop wherever she wants.
No, she can't.
If her husband is somewhere, it's within her right for it to go wherever.
Not if
wherever the hell he is. How can you say to somebody, forget Meghan, how could you say to somebody's wife that they cannot go somewhere that their husband is going? I mean, does he have to pay for it?
Yeah, I mean,
well, surely it takes the light away from the charity is the answer, and it's all about where's the spotlight? I'm going to hog it. Colette has written on Facebook, if these accusations are false, then yes, he has every right to speak out. That's Harry, obviously. Paul has said on X, see if we can see this comment. Obviously, he is within his rights to speak out. If they or she is lying, everyone has the right to stand up and fight. Kim on Facebook says this. He wasn't the only one who resigned, yet nothing has been said about the other prince. Yeah. Good point, and that's the Lesothian prince.
Yeah, the other prince is less newsworthy. This whole situation could have been completely avoided.
Yeah.
My day job, you asked me what my day job was the other day, and earlier I didn't mention it. I put people on boards. So I very regularly help to replace board members when a chair or board members no longer find
You're a headhunter.
Inclusive Boards is the name of the organisation.
Inclusive Boards.
Yeah, when organisations no longer have confidence in a chair or what have you, or everybody decides to resign, it is completely common. But you can do it in a way that is contained, where you avoid having to make public statements. And so I think both of them haven't covered themselves with glory.
Well, I'm just going to say, is there not a real problem with a white British prince displacing a Zimbabwean chairperson?
Yeah, but
is there not a problem with the way that looks?
For the sake of balance, in terms of who displaced her, forget the politics first, put that aside for a second, it was the other board members who no longer had confidence in the chair. Now, sometimes with the NHS, West Streeton no longer, there was some politics, and the chair of NHS England stood down. Yeah. Right? He didn't release any aggressive statements or anything like that. Sure. He just, took the L and lived to fight another day.
It's odd that she wants to take the whole charity down with her. I agree with you.
I found that fascinating.
That is. Let's go to Pat in Ayrshire. Hello, Pat.
Oh, hello, Jeremy.
Do you think this is another fight that Harry should be staying out of?
No, I don't. Why shouldn't he stand up for his charity that he set up with Prince Seeso? I mean, this lady was asked to step back some time ago. She refused and she sued the charity. She then said on television that Harry was the one who gave out a statement, but no, it wasn't. It was Harry and Prince Seeso that actually done a joint statement.
Yep, she said that he was guilty of bullying at scale.
Well, I think to be perfectly honest, I think she's exaggerating. I don't trust the lady. She spent £400,000 of the charity's money on consultants.
She gave a lot, though.
Their permission.
Yeah, but her family gave a lot to it as well. But you raise a fair point. I mean, always these charities are quite expensive to run.
But interestingly, and I'd love your opinion on this, Samuel, I think, Pat, the bigger issue is, beyond the sort of scorched earth policy they're both now engaged in, is the direction the charity took. Harry sets up this charity 19 years ago when white saviour princes were in vogue. There were children orphaned because of the AIDS pandemic. This was about saving a little-known part of Africa. And actually, when you employ an African-born chair who wants to take it in the direction of development and wealth and make it more African-based, that's going to jar with your predominantly Harry's chum trustee panel and ideas of saving Africa.
Yeah, I mean, look, there are different types of charities, and some are incredibly localised and place-based, and this is an example, and there are others that have broader objectives, right? And so you enter a charity where the founders have a specific objective. In my humble opinion, I'm not comfortable with the idea of their objectives being broadened without carrying along the people that set up the organisation, who are responsible for a lot of fundraising. And so I feel like there are a lot of governance issues here that go beyond just the
Let's
drama.
leave it there. Thank you, Pat. Thanks to our callers on that. Later, for one more call on whether Prince Harry is right to hit out over what he calls the blatant lies. Patricia in Birmingham, hi.
Hello, good morning.
Hello. What do you think about this, Patricia?
I just think it's a misunderstanding. That video you sent just now, it's a misunderstanding. She just wants to be where her husband is. I am married, and I want to be where my husband is. And I guess my husband wants to be where I am.
You mean the polo incident?
I don't, just a misunderstanding. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
I agree with
You want to be where your husband is.
But then why is it kicked off? Why have you got someone angry and someone else storming out and someone else being sacked and everyone cross?
Maybe it's a bit of jealousy, you never know.
Yeah.
And Patricia, I know we're going to talk about this later, but I really hope your bins are okay.
Yeah, how are your bins, Patricia?
Oh my God. No, they're still outside.
They're still outside. How long have they been outside for in Birmingham?
They're not packed up as over in certain areas.
Oh, no.
Because I'm living on the posh side.
So they're not collecting your bins?
Patricia says she's taking her bins to the poorer side of town. Terrible, Patricia.
Patricia!
And I was just about liking you. This is not good.
So when are you going to get them collected?
No, I am living on the posh side.
Thank you.
So to be clear, are they picking them up in the posh
private
side,
hire, yeah.
or they're not?
No, I think she may...
They came
Have you
last-
moved your
they came
bins
last
over to
Wednesday.
the poorer side of Birmingham?
Oh, no, I would not do that.
No, OK, all right, so we misunderstood.
Chaos.
Thank you, Patricia. This is like the Sentebale thing. It's how it starts. Someone, and then suddenly everyone's fallen out. Thank you, Patricia. Let's remind you what's still coming up.